we thought about like having the warranty be infinity. We're trying to dig a hole under LA, and this is to create the beginning of what will hopefully be a 3D network of tunnels.
Everything is possible. Billionaire Elon Musk's motivational speech. Wishful thinking is one of the most common and serious errors individuals make. You want something to be true, even though it isn't true. And as a result, you disregard the things that you ignore, the real truth, because of what you want to be true. Elon had stated that when he was younger and didn't know the numbers 5 or 6 or whatever else, he believed he was nuts because it was obvious that other people didn't know such numbers. They didn't have a mind that was overflowing with thoughts. A significant number of setbacks have occurred at various points in his life. They could cobble together enough components and money to perform the 4th launch, and if that 4th launch had failed, they would have been out of business. However, there was backing for SpaceX. If it hadn't been for that support, the first 3 launches would have been unsuccessful. Therefore, a series of setbacks along the route. He exerted a lot of effort in the pursuit of acquiring the appropriate knowledge for SpaceX. He exerted a lot of effort to locate an outstanding chief engineer for the rocket, but the good chief engineers declined to work on the project, and there was no need to employ the incompetent ones. Therefore, he found himself in the role of chief engineer of the rocket. If he had been able to find somebody superior to him, they would have had less than 3 failures. Elon defined many in the rocketry industry who declared he couldn't do what he set out to achieve by completing the task in question. They said he didn't know what he didn't know. When Elon discovered that heroes like Neil Armstrong had testified against how they were developing commercial space, he said that it was heartbreaking to see that because those guys were his heroes. He said that it was tough and that he wished they would come and visit and see the hard work they were doing there, and that he thought that would change their minds. Elon once said that one should never give up. He reasoned that one should either be dead or unable to function. Work like hell to succeed.
To alleviate congestion. So, I mean, right now, I think one of the most soul-destroying things is traffic. It affects people in every part of the world. It takes away so much of your life. It's horrible. Yeah, absolutely. So this is the first time, we're just to sort of show what we're talking about. So there are a couple of key things that are important in having a 3D tunnel network. First of all, you have to be able to integrate the entrance and exit of the tunnel seamlessly into the fabric of the city. An elevator, sort of a car skate that's on an elevator. You can integrate the entrance and exits to the tunnel network just by using 2 parking spaces. And then the car gets on a skate. There's no speed limit here, so we're designing this to be able to operate at 200 kilometers an hour, or about 200 kilometers an hour, or about 130 miles per hour. So you should be able to get from, say, Westwood to LAX in 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes.
I was very sad to see that because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough. I wish they would come and visit and see the hardware that we're doing here, and I think that would change their mind. What I'm trying to do is to make a significant difference in spaceflight and make spaceflight accessible to almost anyone. I hope for as much support in that direction as we can receive.
I don't know if people noticed it in the video, but there's no real limit to how many levels of tunnel you can have. So you can go much further deep than you can go up. The deepest mines are much deeper than the tallest buildings are tall. So you can alleviate any arbitrary level of urban congestion with the 3D tunnel network. This is a very important point. So a key rebuttal to the tunnels is that if you add 1 layer of tunnels, then that will simply alleviate congestion, will get used up, and then you'll be back where you started, back with congestion. But you can go to any arbitrary number of tunnels, any number of levels. Well, they're right. To give you an example, the LA subway extension, which is, I think it's a 2.5-mile extension, that was just completed for $2 billion. So it's roughly $1 billion a mile to do the subway extension in LA. And this is not the highest utility subway in the world. Yeah, it's quite difficult to dig tunnels normally. I think we need to have at least a 10-fold improvement in the cost per mile of tunneling. Because actually, if you just do 2 things, you can get to approximately an order of magnitude improvement, and I think you can go beyond that. So the first thing to do is to cut the tunnel diameter by a factor of 2 or more. So a single road lane tunnel would according to regulations, has to be 26 feet, maybe 28 feet in diameter to allow for crashes and emergency vehicles and sufficient ventilation for combustion engine cars. If you shrink that diameter to we're attempting, which is 12 feet, which is plenty to get an electric skate through, you drop the diameter by a factor of 2 and the cross-sectional area by a factor of 4. And the tunneling cost scales with the cross-sectional area. So that's roughly a half order of magnitude improvement right there. Then tunneling machines currently tunnel for half the time, then they stop, and then the rest of the time is putting in reinforcements for the tunnel wall. So if you design the machine instead to do continuous tunneling and reinforcing,